Hi, Mike DePung here on Spirit Hill, Spirit Healing into Love and Light. And I welcome you here again. I hope you have been working on your own healing simply because that's part of why we came. Because when we heal, we get to experience more of the wonders and magic and joys of this creation that we've been a part of, that we've been co-creators of, and we get to see it unfolding before us. It's just a beautiful thing. And it seems like Spirit keeps giving me ideas, concepts, energies, things to share that are really huge topics. And because of that, I will put some links to things that I've written about in the past associated with what I want to speak to you about today, with the energies that I want to apply to all of us. And if you enjoy this video, if you find any value in it, if you experience healing from it, then please hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. But the important thing is that I want you, along with me, to engage in this beautiful process of coming into all that we came here to know. What I'm going to talk about with you today is concerns respect and balance and Mother Earth. Environmentalism is a big issue today, and it is because we've created it to become an issue. And it goes way back. It goes back to the beginning of all time, really, because the real issue is not where we are right now in terms of the physical world. The real issue is here within. That's why we need healing in and into love and light. It has to do with whether we choose ego or heart to operate by. Ego has been the predominant ruling energy in the collective, and that is what has led us to the issues of today. But the answers for those things, while they are dealt with on a macro level, on the collective level, through government and policies and those sorts of things, but the real healing won't come about until there's more individuals who look into self, who choose heart, and realize why we're here, realize who we are, realize the value that each one of us brings. We're each spirit incarnate, but we each are unique in terms of that expression of the incarnate part. So tap into your heart, listen to it. Let me talk about some of the things that have been on my mind for this past week, and it has been a full week since I did a video, and I think I may start doing a few more frequently. I'll talk about that if I do. So this respect and balance with Gaia, with Mother Earth, these are healing pathways, not just healing in terms of Earth and the environment, but mainly healing for us. And I do an energy ceremony every night. And I go through some things that I have established that are part of me, that Spirit has given me. And one of the things every single night I do is I hold space for healing for Gaia. But really it's not for Gaia, and I came to realize this over time. When I say I hold space for healing, it's in respect to Mother Earth, to Gaia, Pachamama, whatever you may call the energy source of this great planet we live on. When we enter into sacred space with her, what we come to realize is that the healing is not what she needs. The healing is what we need. And that's a really crucial distinction, that we enter into this sacred relationship, and when we do, we understand that all of this is one. The sunflower right back there, the trees right up there, all of this is a unity. There is spirit all about us. There's spirit in all of these things because it's the essence of life that is here. And when we understand this, we understand that Mother Earth gives birth, has the elements that contribute to the creation of all that's here. But it doesn't stop there, and this is part of this great unity. The air is necessary for all flora and fauna. And air carries with it carries certain energies and elements with it that flora and fauna can only get through the air. And then there's water. The water is necessary for all flora and fauna, for all life. And it carries other energies and elements. It all works together. But of course, none of it would work if there weren't the sun initiating photosynthesis. It's photons traveling through what is it? I don't remember how many millions of miles of space it is from sun to earth. But then once it hits here, they travel through the air. And so the photosynthesis is initiated. And that's necessary. Without that, flora and fauna die. And the moon, her energies, her power has to do with the ebb and flow of waters, of keeping this earth on a 22-degree axis tilt so that all of these things stay in balance. It's a unity. When we engage our hearts, when we look and we recognize who we are, at a base level that we all are, and individually who we are, the flavor of the Spirit incarnate as your own person, all the abilities and skills and things that you've nurtured and developed, and personality traits that you either use or reject. All these things add together to make a very unique, wonderful life energy that is you, that is me. And when we come to see that, when we come to recognize that, we realize all of the rest of this, it's all the same. We're all one. We're all one, each expressing who we are, each contributing, generating. And so we cannot afford, if we want to know joy, if we want to know all the great things we came here, if we want to know love and light and peace, if we want to know all these things, significance and fulfillment, we accept that this is a unity, and we cannot disrespect or live in imbalance with any of it. Therefore, when we go about our lives, we need to ask on an individual level, and that leads to a collective corporate level, what is balance and respect? How much do I need? How much do I demand? And that all has an effect on what happens on this earth. And the very fact that there are such crises right now in terms of extremes of weather that create catastrophes, extremes of lack of things that we need to continue, clean water, clean air. I mean, there are places around the earth where people can barely breathe on some days. Do we not see that our greed from the ego lower mind, that greed that comes out creates this? We need to, because we need to respect and live in balance with all the rest of spirit about us. Human beings are the only ones, though, who understand and know the difference between the ego operating system and the heart operating system. If we don't choose heart, we're not going to go very far. And in fact, we might say, well, look at all of history right now. Well, we'll do look at all of history right now. Let's just go back to recorded history, to when human beings started being able to record it. It's not that long. It's not that long at all. And we're already at a point of destruction. And we need to consider it. I want us to be happy. I want us to enjoy one another. I want us to enjoy all of this. In fact, how does it extend to? I thought of little things along the way, and so I'm going to share some personal things. When I have to grab a spider from inside the house, especially things like brown recluses that can be venomous, most of the time I try to catch them and put them outside. But even when I have to kill them because I can't catch them, and I'm not going to let them get away and bite me and create this ugly hole in me, I always say thank you for sharing your life energy with us. And that's not just a trite little thing. I am thankful that the life energy has been shared. I sometimes I speak to them a little bit more, telling them I don't understand why it came to this, why you came to this point, but thank you for sharing your life energy with us. We have to reconcile our impulses that may lead to disrespect with this concept of respect, of saying, I recognize what you are, little spider. I recognize what you are, fly. But then I think of those who think that, oh, it's just such a right and such a great thing to go and kill species halfway around the world because I wanted to. That's disrespect. There is no respect. You can add to it whatever you want. Oh, I did this for some noble purpose. It gave money. The license gave money to help the environment, to help whatever. It's disrespect. You can try to polish it up any way you want. But we need to reconcile ego and heart. We need to reconcile disrespect with respect. This foolish elimination and slaughter of species for our convenience, our pleasure, our recreation, just because we can, just because we want to have easy lives. That's disrespect, and that creates imbalance, and that creates destruction. Now, you know, where we're at today goes back to a large extent, even though the spiritual aspect of it goes all the way back to our creation. The essence of modern society goes back to the Industrial Revolution, to policies like that were inherent in the collective. Things like laissez-faire economies, where you leave hands off. Let's see how much we can get. Let's see. And if you make more, it leads to more innovation. More innovation for what? Well, if that innovation means you're destroying, disrespecting, living in imbalance with nature, then that is lower ego mind. That is not heart energy. And that leads to, again, destruction. And that's where we're at now in many ways in society. So I think about that in terms of a number of things. But this idea of disrespect, it comes out in so many ways. But the essence of it is this: I want it. I'm in control and I can do it. Therefore, I get it. That's lower ego mind. Now, if you want something and it means, and you might even say the same words, hey, I can do it. I want it. But it's because I know that it's for the good, or that it is in balance with all of the life energies around us, then that's so. But the difference is ego energy or heart energy. Ego, lower mind, or heart. That's the difference. The driving force of this disrespect does lead to an economic system that respects no one else. It's at the very root level. And the current crass materialism, unregulated, almost unregulated economies, materialism, capitalism especially, that just concerns self and how much the individual gets in. Hey, I did it. If I did it, everybody else had. Let's set up the government so that everybody else has the same right. You'll never have the same right, because if you're competing ego and heart, and that's what the real competition is, people with ego are going to always keep pushing, and they're not going to see the balance. They're not going to see the respect. They're not going to welcome the unity of all, and that's what it's about. Anybody who denies unity is, to a large extent, even though we all have these dynamics within us of ego and heart, but they are primarily operating in that ego energy. If you're saying, hey, they can do it and I don't need to worry about them, they have the same opportunities I do, yeah, that's just not going to cut it if we're going to really enjoy life and live in peace and happiness. Balance means that we seriously consider how the scales of life are tipped, how any actions we take affect the rest of this unity. if we do this, what happens? Well, if we're not screwing around with, if we are screwing around with technology, and we say, well, we don't know what's going to happen, but look at what it's going to do for us right now. If we can't foresee, then we need to back off until we can. Plastics are a great example of this. There were some scientists early on who said, wait, what's going to happen with this stuff? They were squashed. Their ideas, their concerns were squashed. The same thing with things like insecticides and pesticides and that. Oh, but we need this because you can give all the becauses. If it leads to imbalances that destroy the unity, that destroy nature, that destroy species, that destroy our natural resource, air and water, that lower the quality so much. By the way, all this stuff, when we're gone, it will all recover. The thing is we're going to disappear before that happens if we don't go within, choose heart, and start evaluating what is balance on a personal level, and that leads to the collective level. We think about things that, like, we just want more things. More cars, bigger houses, more gas and oil, more everything that means that we can live in exorbitant wealth, convenience. All of that is going to lead to imbalance for Mother Earth and towards one another. The disrespect and imbalance shown towards Mother Earth will show up in our lifestyles, our relationships, our government, our policies, and eventually it will cause our own extermination. I'm going to give some links in the description below to things that I've written, things that have articles that have to do with people like Rachel Carson, who could foresee this and who initiated massive changes, and others' ideas. But we are the ones who are in danger. And if you're listening to this and you don't understand that and you can't see it, if you think, well, let me give a for instance. Lately I've been seeing some stuff from an environmental group about the wolves and the wolf pups that are being killed because they're endangering livestock of farmers, and just get rid of them all. I want to tell you something. In my opinion, that's rank stupidity. I don't care all the excuses. I've heard the excuses. I've heard the rationales. And they have nothing to do with living the lives we came here to live and to know. Earth will continue. Other species will continue. But we will be the ones who perish. When we realize that we're one with all of these resources and that they are all expressions of spirit, then things are going to change. We realize this, so environmentalism is about saving us. It's not really about saving Mother Earth. It's not really about saving the air and the water. It's really about saving us. And so the way to this is through considering each and every action that we take, both individually, micro level, and at the macro level, collectively. And we need bold, decisive leaders who understand the heart energy and govern from that perspective. And that's a hard thing. But it's got to start with us. We are the ones. You have great power, and I have great power. So we can awaken, become aware of self, choose heart. And when we do, we can call on the heart operating system to sense all those energies that are all about us, that there's spirit, there's life in those flowers behind me, in that tree behind me, and the little squirrels I was just watching run up and down the tree. And I do want to get it down to a personal level a little bit. This was something that I used to teach. The romantic era of literature, especially some of the earlier things, really considered the relationship of nature. We can learn from the spirit energies in nature all about us, but we will not hear them if we do not nurture and court and develop the ability to tap into that. And so we need to address it. We need to do this. There was a poem by Robert Burns, who Robbie Burns from Old Lang Syne at New Year's time, and I've referred to him before. And one of the poems that he wrote that was kind of like at the heading of the Romantic period in the book that I used to work with students was called To a Mouse. And he, as a farmer, had plowed through a little home of a mouse. And I could try to read it in the dialect that it was written in. I'm not too bad at it, actually, because I had a course that kind of helped with that. But what's interesting is that the very second verse of this 7-verse poem, the second verse, he shifts out of the older dialect he was writing in, because he wrote in a more modern time than the dialect he uses. He shifts out of it to make a point, and here's the point. He talks to the mouse whose home he just ruined, and he says, "I'm truly sorry man's dominion has broken nature's social union, and justifies that ill opinion which makes thee startle at me, thy poor earth-born companion and fellow mortal." He recognizes that they are one. He recognizes that he impacted a fellow spiritual essence. And that's what we need to realize. It leads to personal healing in and into love and light. But it takes work. You need to think about the flies and the gnats. You need to think about pollution. You need to think about how much water we waste, how much oil and gas we use, about who we vote for that sets policies for these sorts of bigger macro issues. And we need to do it from heart energy, not from ego. So I share this with you. I want to share one last thing. Right before I made this video, and I mean just before I did it, I asked Spirit to speak to me through an oracle deck, the Mystical Shaman oracle deck that I use sometimes. And this is the card that I was given. Can you see that? The rainbow. And I thought about it, and the rainbow has to do with the energies of life. The energies of life that are contained in us, because the rainbow has the 7 colors that are associated with the 7 chakra energy centers in each of us: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And it speaks of the energies of life all about us. And the message that the authors of this deck give says this specifically about when the rainbow appears. It comes forth that it is the bridge between the physical and spiritual worlds. If we're operating from heart energy, we know that the physical and spiritual, there's unity, and it's all about us. I don't know, maybe I've just overdone this, but it's what was on my heart. And I'm going to give some links to other things that I've written, maybe some things that others have written. I don't know how much I'll include, but I do know this. I am for you. I am for me. I am for us in our spiritual relationship with one another, with ourselves, and with all of this spirit creation about us. So, have a great rest of the weekend. Blessings in your own journey of spiritual healing in and into love and light, and love and peace until I see you next time.